Where's your volume? Is your volume even on?
I got it, yes, I got it right
All right, turn it up.
here. It's 82%.
Should start.
Oh, she's getting ready. Everybody else down. There's Mike.
Button up in here. See on the three buttons over there on the right?
Yeah, what's that?
Hello, all. We've got the live streaming on. We've got the Zoom on. And we're just getting a couple of people hooked up now.
Gigi. Gigi, no. Please don't forget. See, he wrote this. I'm muted, mute.
Amanda's got her pretty picture up.
Start on the eyes.
This one.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you sound good. We'll have to do roll calls on everything that we vote on.
Okay, I'll remember. I think. Sorry, I gotta prop my phone up here. All right, I think I got it. I'm gonna stay put. So do we have everybody we're expecting? I know Jason's not coming tonight. I'm gonna take this off. Is that better?
Yes, very good.
So I know Jason's not planning on joining us here tonight.
I'm gonna go check on Tim. I see no picture here. See what's going on. I'll be right back.
Oh, the videos. I can get it, Catherine.
Oh,
There's two Tims, so let's turn off the back one.
This
No,
one here?
The actual computer.
Does it,
Yeah, let's just turn that off. All right, thank you. Computer guru.
All right, no, oh dear. Catherine just called me a computer guru and I just closed my thing. Okay. All right, we have everybody back again. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna find my agenda here. Are you all set, Catherine?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I cannot see everybody because I'm on my phone and the screen's too small. So you'll have to like virtually maybe raise your hand or just say, excuse me, because I can't see you unless you start talking. So tonight is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. It's we're in the Pittsfield Town Council meeting. This is a regular meeting. We're meeting by teleconferencing this evening due to Somerset County being designated red, which is a high community transmission of COVID-19. Per vote of the council on record, all meetings will be held by teleconferencing on Zoom when this condition is in effect. So we'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. And I believe, Amanda, you have the flag downstairs in the chambers.
Yes, let me get near it. Hold on.
You are the keeper of the flag tonight.
Hold on, I gotta figure out how to flip it. I'm just gonna turn it this way and hopefully you can tell me when you can
There
see.
you
There's
go.
the flag.
Yes, very
right
good.
there.
Yep, we got it.
Yeah.
All right, I pledge allegiance
To
To the flag
the flag
of the United
of the
States
United States of America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
Thank you, Amanda. We'll just have a brief moment of silence. If I can remind everybody to go ahead and mute your computers. And then when you're ready to talk, just unmute and I'll try and have pauses in between things to give you a chance to unmute while we're going through the meeting. Thank you. Thank you. The next item is adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 17th, 2021, and I'll look for a motion from the council.
I move we adopt the minutes for meetings of August 17th, 2021.
Thank you, Mike.
Second,
Was that you, Tim?
yes.
Thank you. Counselors, do you have any changes, additions, or deletions that need to be addressed on the meeting minutes as they're presented? Okay, I'm not hearing or seeing anybody, so we'll go ahead and vote on that. And we do need to call the roll for all votes this evening.
And I can do that for you if you'd like for each of the motions.
Okay, that would be great.
All right, very good. Mayor Donahue,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Nichols,
Aye.
Councilor Collimore,
Aye.
Councilor Lodgett-Geis,
Aye.
Councilor Frost, Councilor Frost,
He's
Brent?
muted.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilor Chaquette,
Aye.
thank you. Passes.
Thank you, Catherine. Presentations, congratulations, and introductions. First, we have community and economic development activities and events. Catherine?
Yes, I'll try to be very brief, knowing that it's difficult to stay on the computers for a long period of time. On number A, Route 11, this is our Main Street project for the highway construction rehab, which is very important to the community. I've gone over the details on the project, with the downtown being a separate project being run by the Maine DOT, because so much is being done in that area, as well as down in the area past the library, and then further down is the area that we'll be working on. But everybody is working together. The project has been delayed for a number of reasons. The Maine DOT has been asked for an updated timetable so we can see exactly where things are. We've expressed the concern that if this gets delayed any further, we'll be back another construction period, which is unacceptable, and ask them to please provide us with a schedule. We are up to date with all of our grants except for Project Maine. For our Project Canopy grants, the Main Street Sidewalk project for the CDGB grant of $250,000 has been updated and all set with the DECD. The Northern Border Regional Grant Project, we were awarded the $245,000, which was excellent. The paperwork is coming prior to October. And so we have some questions to the state and Northern Border Regional Grant on whether we can start the some of the work that would be addressed by other grants so that we can get going ahead of the Maine DOT. Now that we've actually got a timetable, even though it's been pushed back. Northern Regional Grant cannot be started prior to October 1st, being the federal deadline. Many of the other smaller grants are all set. Project Canopy, just with the COVID-19 and the students not being able to work on the project, which is an inherent part of our project, the ability of trying to get the trees and do all this. These grants may need to be reapplied for. I will ask for another extension. I'm not sure that we can get it, but it has been a unique period of time. So I wanted to go on to the American Recovery Plan Act, the ARPA funding. I will have a document for you prior to the next meeting, probably next week. I've been looking through all of the federal and state documents. The paperwork on this project can be massive. There are some documents talking about the rescue funding that all of the communities have. They're like 900 pages long. There's been some that are a bit shorter. They all that I have found, the last 5 all have some conflicts in them. But in looking at the paperwork, I would note that there are several eligible uses by expenditure category, just to give you a very basic update, and then we'll settle on a document which the Maine Municipal Association promotes, and then we can talk about how we'll spend the funds that we're going to get. The funding that the town will receive is $421,829.50. That can be spent on items from March on, and there's approximately a couple of year periods, so this is excellent. The acceptable uses have changed consistently. The latest document that I found has several categories. The categories that the state and federal government have really promoted, and almost anything goes in these areas, would be the sewer system, clean water, the drinking water, which is the water system, and broadband. These seem to be the main focuses. There are other focuses. Public health is an expenditure category. COVID testing, vaccination, contact tracing, and a whole list of items. I assume these would not be items we'd be interested in. They'd be more for other entities. Number 2, negative economic impacts, in which we would provide funding and run food programs, rent, mortgage, and utility aid. I assume that other entities would be doing that just because they would be more expert at it. Small business economic assistance with aid to different businesses. There are many plans for business aid, so that this perhaps may not be one that we would be working on. The third category is services to disproportionately impacted communities. And so this talks about childhood housing and areas such as that. Likely this would not be an area that we would work on. The fourth category is pay for public sector employees. And this is an item that I've talked to the mayor and deputy mayor about in passing several times, in that we have many employees that stayed with the town that worked through the pandemic, who came to work every day, whereas some left, some went off on disability, some went off and used up their sick time and didn't work. And so the rest of the staff did the work. So a bonus is something that we could provide, so that each full-time employee would get a bonus, and then part-timers would get half of that. So I can work out some details on that. You would have some categories such as employees would need to work 6 months or a year during the pandemic, some sort of requirement. But considering how difficult it has been for the employees to work through this, every single person has dealt with the public. And so that would be the fairest thing to do. So that is a category I think that we would be interested in, to help the employees and let them know that they were appreciated beyond just thank yous. Number 5, as I had mentioned before, was the infrastructure category. That is the one that is heavily promoted by the state of Maine and the federal government for sewer systems, water systems, and broadband. Number 6 is an expenditure category for revenue replacement. Now, whereas our revenue was down during 2020 significantly, we also had cut our expenditures and were extremely conservative. So we were able to balance that out, as we did back in 2009-10, when we had very low income coming in because of the recession. And then number 7 is administrative expenses, and those are never good to try to pay for different people's salaries. Those are always very difficult and not always the best use of funding. So we have monies that are available to the town. Every community has a portal. Many of the town's portals do not work, and the town managers have been talking about that, and finance directors and everything. Our portal works because we've had state and federal grant funding coming through the state of Maine, since 2002. So our portal works fine, and I've requested the funding for the water system generator that was approved from this funding. So that's a basic update. I will find the best document for you. I've got 6 different versions now. Try to get the best one for you that makes things as clear as possible. And then we'll put an agenda item on when you're ready. I'll come up with some other ideas and everything, and talk to people about what would be the best uses, and then make some promotion for some projects and some items. So that's a very basic background. But the portals had just become available as of the beginning of September. So we're ready to go forward, and the funding's available for a couple of years. So this is very good. I don't know where all the money's coming from, but well, luckily we have some, so that's good. I should also note that our DEP American Rescue funding is going to be available as of October 1st. So that will be for the Clean Water Project for Main Street, which decreases the project by $498,000 for the loan. So that's exceptional. It basically cuts the loan payments in half. So this is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Could you say that last amount again, please?
Yes, 498,000. I didn't put the exact figure, but there's a few extra dollars there too. So that is exceptional. We're very, very fortunate. There's other monies out there too. So I've been looking at those also. Likely there'll be some funding that will come up from the rescue program when the drinking water program comes out later this year for projects.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Public hearings. We do not have any public hearings this evening. So we'll go to reports for council committees. Finance Committee.
Sorry, my video doesn't want to turn on. There we go. So at our last finance committee meeting, we went over some of the budget items as we are approaching our budget season. I do not have it in front of me of when our next meeting is coming up, but I know we're pretty much meeting every Tuesday that we don't have a town council meeting, whether it's for finance committee or for our budget workshops. at 6:30 in the council chambers or via Zoom for those who cannot attend in the council chambers. It was really just a quick overview of where we stood on some of the accounts this last meeting. There wasn't any big decision making or anything. It was a very informative meeting. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Okay, not hearing any questions, we'll go on to the ordinance committee. I don't even know what day it is nowadays, but we did have a meeting recently. Jason provided us with a draft of the fireworks ordinance that we were looking at. And we made some changes to that, and I thought we were gonna have the council review it tonight, but
Yes, and I did attach it to a write-up for ordinance committee report and discussion topic, proposed town of Pittsfield, Maine consumer fireworks ordinance.
okay, are we doing that? We're gonna do that later.
No, you can do it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Jason put together a document. We discussed it and then we made some changes. We talked about some of the things that we liked and we didn't like about that. And I am just looking for my copy in the big packet here to find.
It's near the beginning, right after the grant presentation
There
material.
we go. There we are. Okay, so this was basically what we came up with, and we wanted the counselors, the full council to look at this and really kind of discuss it and see if this was the direction that we wanted to go in before we put too much more work into this. Do counselors have any questions about it? Do you want us to move forward with this? And do you have any suggestions?
Good question.
Well, this is Mike. I can't really weigh in on that because I have yet to see any review. I didn't see any meeting documentation until I came in tonight and never got an email. So I've had absolutely no time to review anything on this meeting tonight.
Okay, Mike. We're not making any decisions on this passing anything or not, so there'll be more opportunity to comment on it at the upcoming ordinance meeting, as well as when it actually comes before the council, if that comes to pass. You want me to go for you?
Heather, can you hear me?
Yes, Brent, go ahead.
What's different? What did you change or add on this one versus what the state has? How do we know the difference? Did you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I'm trying to remember. Jason did all of the prep work on this. So I'm not as intimately involved with all the different items. So we did have, we pretty much followed the state, and I don't have the state version in front of me right now. So it's hard to compare one to the other.
It's very similar to the state version.
I think we had different, was it times?
Yes, on the hours and the dates for the time period.
Right,
From
so if you look before,
9 a.m. to 12:30?
yeah,
Yeah, it's on page 3. It says 9 a.m. to 12:30.
It's later instead of stopping at 10.
it was based,
My question would be then, if it's pretty much the same as the state, why wouldn't we just say we're following the state?
Oh, we can.
So one of the things, Brent, that was different was in this one versus the state on 4.2, there was an allotment for a special permit, which is not in the state one.
Okay,
I believe that's going to be the only major difference.
the special permits one, okay,
That was on page 4 and it's 4.2.
right, very top, says 5 p.m. Friday to Sunday, 5 p.m. Weekends. Okay.
right. So I do remember that we had quite a bit of discussion around this item and what the actual procedure would be if somebody wanted to get this permit. If they were to come to the office to fill it out, if they talk to our fire wardens to fill it out and get an inspection of some kind or get the permit issued. This was an item that seemed to give some flexibility for people, but at the same time created some issues around the actual permitting process and logistics of actually doing that. So Pete, do you remember this being as like the item that we were most confused about how to enforce?
Well, I think that was where we had our most discussion, was how we were going to implement that. How would the permit be attained and who would we get the permit from, and that administrative stuff. That was my remember of the most of the conversation.
How would the public know they gotta have to get a permit?
Well, this would we would have a public hearing for this. So that would be public notice about the new ordinance if it were enacted.
We'd also have to advertise it if it did go into effect, because you're correct. People would not realize they needed to do this or could do it.
I would imagine we would want some signage up in the town hall and other places as well.
This is Tim. I just got a quick question. I think I'm pretty sure I know the answers, but just for clarification purposes, when it's determined that it's a red flag warning, in other words, the weather is National Weather Service put something out, that is a state reg, correct? That's not a local reg. That would be, you'd be following state protocol if that happened. So if somebody went out and bought a bunch of fireworks, and then we had a red flag warning day and they weren't allowed to set them off, that's the state statute. Is that correct?
That's one of the items we kept from the state statute, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think what bothers me about the red flag thing is that's more of a Mariner thing, and shouldn't we be using the fire levels instead?
Well, this is the actual wording in the state statute. So we were just making it consistent with what the state statute was. It is an odd term to use, but I believe it has to do with wind versus heat and dry, which you would have as part of the Forest Service type 1.
I guess what I don't understand, I would have to know more about the red flag thing. What I'm concerned with is usually that's something that's issued on coastal cities and coastal towns. And though I know that you're saying it's the state regulation, how often does Pittsfield receive a warning of a red flag warning? I mean, I know we've had very windy days, but I've never seen us be issued a red flag warning. Now, when I lived in Rockland, we received them, but never in inland.
Yeah, Amanda is correct.
So that would be an item to look at. So we would want to consider a different type of arrangement for issuing those. I think we would probably want to keep that though, and then add to it if we wanted to have another, just have it and or as I believe the Forest Service usually has like category 1, 2, 3, or 4 for the fire danger for the burn permit system.
Instead of red flag though, I mean, we could put red flag, but let's put in parentheses or something so that people who haven't lived on the coast understand what that means, and put like high wind. Because we do get issued high wind warnings inland, but we don't get issued red flag warnings.
So I think it all means the same thing, it's just the terminology that's different.
I'm just thinking of, because when I write stuff, I try to write it in the easiest terms for every person to understand. And most people who have never lived in a Mariner place may not understand what red flag warning is. So if we ensure that we clarify that red flag warning is a high wind warning, that will help everybody understand what's going on.
Right. Okay. Any other items in this, counselors, that you think need to be addressed? Or even, do you think we need to do this or just follow the state statute or something else altogether?
So if I may just ask for clarification, so there are only 2 days and 2 weekends of the year that they can use fireworks, is that correct?
Well, there's
Under Article 4?
Yeah, the 4.1 lays out what the state statute says. Plus there's different hours that we changed. And then if you flip the page to 4.2, that special permit part is where we added in an option to have some type of fireworks display at a different period of time on a weekend.
Right, understood. So anyone can do it those 2 days, 2 weekends, any other time would have to be a permit. And if you look at Article 6, exceptions, it doesn't apply to the town of Pittsfield or local schools. So any school in town can do fireworks anytime they want.
So this was put in because the committee did not feel that it was practical to have MCI request a special permit every time they have a football game at home, because MCI sets off fireworks.
Right, understood, but that means that MCI, Manson Park, Warsaw, Vickery can light off fireworks anytime that they choose.
I think they would still have to follow the state law. Even if we don't have an ordinance that we enact, people still have to follow the state law.
Right, but this says this ordinance does not apply to the town of Pittsfield local schools or any persons who has obtained a permit under blah, blah, blah.
Correct. So what it's saying is that if we were to enact this ordinance, we would be exempting the schools or anybody else who has obtained a permit under this other option through the state. But regardless of that, if we didn't enact an ordinance at all, they would still have to follow the state statute.
Basically what she's saying, I was just going to say, basically what she's saying, Mike, is that we are looking to be more prescriptive than the state law. We can't be less prescriptive. And so our more prescriptive stuff would not apply to the schools.
Right, I understand that. However, what I'm saying is that you're giving the schools special privileges that I don't think it's a big deal for MCI to put in permits. They know when those games are going to be. If we're leaving it wide open, assuming it's just going to be MCI, Manson Park, Vickery, Warsaw, once they find out, there's nothing to stop them. It just doesn't make sense to me. But if you want to continue this at another meeting, we can certainly do that.
So Mike, your preference would be to remove Article 6 with the exceptions. Would that be your suggestion?
Probably not in total. I mean, you still have people with the permits in the town of Pittsfield. I mean, we can certainly follow our own rules, but I think the only reason if we're going to give the schools an exception to that, just because the MCI wants to light off a cannon during the football games, I think that's kind of a silly reason. It leaves it wide open for a lot of other things going on. And they know when their game's going to be. They can put in the permits well ahead of time.
So you're
something that we could do, Heather, too, to fix this issue, because our mindset with this is the MCI football games, knowing that, and now they don't set it off every time, especially if they don't win. But we could just have them fill out a permit that would be for their football season, because we would control what the permitting situation would be as we're doing the ordinance. So it could be that they, like the Egg Festival committee fills out a permit for the Egg Festival, but MCI fills out a permit for the football season. And then that way, if they go on to be able to host playoff games, they don't have to do additional permits because we've already covered them for the season.
So what I'm hearing is that most of the discussion and the concerns is around the permitting process, whether it be the special permits and how we have that happen administratively, or with this exemptions for the schools. So those are two items that the council would recommend the committee continue working on.
Yes.
I would, this is Tim. I agree that, you know, there should be some kind of a thing where if MCI wants to sign up to do fireworks on such and such days, you can apply once a year. These are the days. Same thing with the other schools. That way, I mean, we're following state law, but that way, if there's an exception made and they've signed off on that permit once a year, God forbid if anything should happen, grass catches on fire or some foolish thing like that, everybody's covered because everybody did the proper paperwork and they're following state regs as well as local. So the you know, the liability I would think would be diminished in that capacity. And they could apply once a year if that's, you know, we don't want to burden them, but on the other hand, they should be covered, we should be covered, and we should be following state regs. And I think that way it'd be a win-win. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Anybody else want, before we go on to the next topic? Okay, I'm not hearing anything or seeing anybody, so we will put this feedback to the ordinance committee, and then we will incorporate this in discussions at our next meeting. So overall, the council would like us to continue refining this versus just following the state law by default by not having an ordinance.
Thanks.
This is Catherine. I did speak with Mr. Ferlin. He liked the ordinance in his review.
And this is the gentleman that brought us the topic to work on to begin.
Yes.
I think that in the long run, we of course still have the state law that we would have to follow, period, whether or not we had this. But because we have citizens who have brought this forward and who are concerned about it, I think it's our obligation to continue pursuing it and then bringing it to the public once we have something established that they can discuss even further.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go with that, and I apologize, I can't look at my calendar at the same time I have my Zoom on here, or I lose you all. Catherine, do you know offhand, or maybe Pete, do you have it on your calendar when our next ordinance committee meeting is?
I apologize. I'm in a different room, so I don't have all my files with me.
Okay, well, we'll have it posted. I believe it's at the end of the month.
It is, yes.
Okay, probably the fourth Tuesday, I think. But we can check on that, and it'll be posted on the community calendar on the town website. Okay, so let's go on to board and committee updates. That would be separate. Do we have any under that, Catherine, or anybody else?
So far, this is Catherine. The Recreation Committee will need to meet shortly to discuss budget proposal for 2021, but a date has not been set yet.
Okay. Is that a committee that we need a council representative on to kind of be as a liaison, or?
No, it's not necessary. It's a regular committee. If somebody was interested in recreation, they could attend.
Okay, so we'll just review their budgeting unless somebody wants to jump in and attend those meetings and give some input. Okay, let's go on to Catherine. Do you have any other updates on committees or boards?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go on to town manager report.
All right, very good. Thank you. I will be brief. I sent out the town manager's report this afternoon, late this afternoon. Anyone that would like a copy, I can get that to you by sending it or delivering it. New items, the first item, the big one. Tax bills have been issued for the town of Pittsfield. Those are a 2021 tax bill summary. The tax bill is for the Somerset County assessment, the SAD 53 assessment, and municipal appropriations. The mill rate for 2021 is $23.10 per $1,000 valuation. It is a decrease of 0.3 of a mill, or a decrease of 1.3%. So it's down just a little bit from the 24.30 that we had last year. As you know, our tax rate is high. So anytime we can go down a little bit, it's very good. The state has continued the homestead exemptions at $25,000 per property that has a person living there. So tax bills on the main residence of property owners that filed the exemption were calculated on a lower valuation. Non-residential properties and those residential properties where the owner does not live on site do not receive the $25,000 exemption, so they are taxed on a higher valuation. Town officials and employees have done the best job possible to maintain service levels, address some capital improvements, and be conservative in spending. The 2021 budgetary changes that affected taxes were Somerset County assessment decreased $24,236 or 4.1%. The SAD 53 assessment to the town increased $23,510 from last year's assessment, or 0.71%. The municipal appropriation TIF financing plan and overlay decreased $589,419 or 8.8%. The total revenues and reimbursements decreased by $766,865 or 15.2%. Basically, the revenues and reimbursements equaled or were close to the municipal appropriation TIF financing plan and overlay, addressing all of the capital improvements. Sometimes there are a lot of capital improvements, sometimes there are less. The 2022 transfer station stickers will be available December 1st, 2021. So this is an item that we have put on the stuffer, which goes in with the tax bills. We also talked about the 2022 dog licenses. All dogs over 6 months old must be registered prior to January 31st, 2022. After that date, a late fee must be assessed. There is no way to exempt anybody from that because we have tried that before, because the late fee is many times larger than the fee for the dog license. We will usually receive the new tags by October 15th of each year. We just want to make sure that residents get their dog's license on time so they do not have any extra fees. And we promoted online services and listed exactly where it can be found on the town website so that people can re-register on their vehicles, boats, and other services. So that is the stuffer, and the bills are going out as we speak. The town's valuation increased from $238,403 $238,403,300. That sounds better. To $249,149,700. It is an increase of $10,746,400, a 4.5% increase. This is not a large increase. It's the increase that we used to have back in what you'd call the good old days before the last several years. However, the last several years we were about the same or went up 2 or 3 million. So this is good. There were no overall large increases. The assessor indicated there were a lot of increases, small increases, a lot of small decreases, including personal property tax, but no major increases or decreases. Number 2, the 2022 department budget requests have been received. All departments submitted their budget requests on time with the exception of one department. So I will consult with the finance committee to see what copies of what budgets they'd like to see, if they want all of them or just the larger ones for their next meeting. I've also had the staff obtain some estimates as well as contacted Oliver Associates for water and sewer work. The town councilors all have their draft 10-year paving plan, which I compiled for the major reconstruction projects with estimates from the engineers and the list of roads for reclaiming, grinding, and paving for the remainder of the roads. Those are all draft figures. They can be moved around and changed, but it does cover all the roads. All of Associates has been extra busy, as well as the town. So we have not tried to match up water, sewer, and roads to the different funding sources. It's not clear how we can do this for any lengthy period of time, like the 10-year period, because the funding sources are not guaranteed each year. And in fact, they will come out maybe 2 or 3 or 4 months before they're going to be issued. And then you find out that you are able to apply and compete with the other entities. So having a rolling list of projects would be the best way to pursue this. We do have our current projects for sewer funding, so that's working out good. The drinking water state revolving loan project should be coming out shortly. And so it does appear we would have a good candidate, because we do have a road where there's been multiple breaks continuously here. Number 3, staff changes. Our deputy treasurer has been hired as the finance director in a larger community. Emily came back from vacation and then had to leave quickly to obtain that position. After 16 years with the town, this is a huge loss of a very good employee. She was the best counter clerk I've ever seen and did a very good job. This is a large promotion for her, because she'll actually be completing the type of work that I do. As a finance director, she'll be doing cash flow, grants, issuing loans, tax anticipation notes, and so forth. She'll be in charge of an office and have an assistant, and evidently the town that she's at has a lot of employees working on finance areas and no counter work, which makes her happy. So she said it was time for a change, which many people are doing, as COVID has certainly made people think about rethink their lives. In any case, Nicole, Kathy, and I have divided up the work. Nicole and I are teaching new staff about, seems like, everything. Everyone is doing well. However, they've indicated that the workload is staggering. So we would just ask for everybody's patience. Most of the customers that we know have been extremely understanding. All of this happened in a period of the most frantic home sales I have ever seen. We had well over 40 homes selling within a week to a week and a half. People all needed final bills for water and sewer, and those can take several hours to calculate, get the readings, and produce the bills through the system. They also needed real estate bills issued when the tax commitment had not yet been completed by the tax assessor. And at this time, we had multiple water breaks going on, because it's somewhat exciting there, with 4 people calling on each of these, 2 of the closing agents and the buyer and the seller. And most of this was so people could get into their homes prior to school starting. So there was quite a rush there. So now it's a lot quieter, and we get 1 or 2 a day. Second, we have a new highly qualified transfer station attendant that's been hired. Don Shute is very happy with this candidate, and John will start this week. Our last transfer station attendant had stayed less than 2 weeks, so we have high hopes for this individual. Number 4, insurance claims. There's been several insurance claims, including a visitor fell down, broke her glasses with minor scrapes on the sidewalk. Second, we had a chemical tank in a room at the water pumping station split open due to corrosion and leak chemicals on the floor. This resulted in the need for cleanup and calling DEP for assistance. The fire department had to gear up. This took place in a room separate from the water pump, so there was no danger to the water supply and no one was injured. And 3, the highway cut pavement, leaving a drop off in the road, and a youth driving a vehicle had an accident. So the following will take place to address these situations. 1, the barricade will be left on Main Street, warning of the street light base. It had taken away because there have been complaints that didn't look well, was not aesthetically pleasing, and then somebody got hurt, so that barricade will stay there. The water facility will be gone through and have yet another inspection. See if we can pick up everything that is an issue there. And the public works staff were very sorry about the accident, not putting out signs. So I'm sure they'll have signs out warning of road work in the future. Number 5, workers' compensation safety incentive program. In the midst of our exciting 2-week period here, I did get the paperwork filed for a safety program credit. It appears we qualify for a 7.5% discount on our workers' comp insurance program cost. If we had a wellness program, which is currently being investigated as an outsourced type of service, we would have qualified for a 10% discount. So we pretty much met all of the requirements. We've been doing these items for years, off and on. During the next few months, we'll be working on fixing the items that were determined to require work, because we did inspections of all the buildings. We only have one department that needs assistance with their inspections. All departments did their inspections except for one. Updated and/or continuing items. Number 6, nomination papers. Candidates are needed for the following elected offices for the town. We have District 1 Counselor, District 4 Counselor, at-large Counselor, and 2 SAD 53 board members. All are 3-year terms. Nomination papers need to be returned to the town clerk by 5:00 p.m. on Friday, September 17th. Number 7, the MSAD 53 budget assessment. We were very pleased to see that the school voted to utilize the additional monies that were provided to them by the state government when the 55% reimbursement was put through. So that resulted in a decrease of $158,709 that the town would have paid over the fiscal year of 2021 to 2022. So that was very good. And I will skip over to number 9, codes enforcement work. Our new code enforcement officer continues to work with Steve Seekins on inspections and other work. He's been working with the Detroit code enforcement officer. He and Al Tempester had planned to work on the old code enforcement issues that had been referred to the code office. Before that could take place, as I have reported, Al Tempester broke his wrist and arm in more than one location, I believe twice. Had to have an operation. So he's been out of commission. The information was to be available for you for this meeting, but I've talked to the new code enforcement officer and said we really need to move forward on this and to have a report ready for the next town council meeting. And skipping down to the summer content series number 11. The next and last concert is on September 9th, and that will feature Judd Caswell at Hawthorne Park. 12, we have the Maine Cheese Festival coming right up. That will be Sunday, September 12th, and looking for volunteers. The town will have a booth at the festival with the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation volunteers present to talk about the town. And we will have a brochure or a handout listing the town recreational sites and other attractions, and have the video there. So that will be really good. Number 13 is Maine Recycles Week. Will be held for the first time since 2010 officially. And of course, the town's been celebrating that every year that we can. So that'll be coming up in November, and the recycling committee will be doing some project. Number 15, the water hydrant installation, the Jinxed water hydrant project on Morrill Street. Still hoping to be able to do that. And they're going to try again on September 13th. A much larger area has to be shut down. So letters will be delivered to that whole area so that it can get things done. The valves, which are very expensive to get a valve, it's now $10,000 to install them. So they're unable to get the valves shut off in that immediate area, although they certainly did try. And if they try too much, they can break them, and then there'll be a large problem. So this is something that we need to work on again for a valve exercising program. And then skipping down quickly, freedom of access requests. I still have a lot of those. I did, as I noted before, I took care of the Taylor Road. I've taken care of 3 financial items with information needed from 2019 up, because there are certain reports you can run in the TRIO system, financial system, and be able to do that. I'm still working on some of the other road and sewer issues regarding the private roads, and hope to clear that up. But I did have to work with Nicole at the counter and do training, and that we need to address the citizens so they can get their services and everything. And we will have information on the computer system Number 20, to deal with the replacement of the server and replacement of some of the computers so we can move forward with the installation of a new updated Trio program. And the last item I'll mention is number 21, summer highway paving program went exceptionally well. Very, very well. Central Street, Hawthorne Street, Middle Street, and Franklin Street were paved. In addition, we had reclaimed Hawthorne and Franklin Street due to their condition. There's a few little minor issues where the water lays. However, part of that is the wideness of the area and how flat the road is at the property line. The Hopkins Paving Company did come in and help out the water department. They were so busy with all of their breaks that they were unable to take care of all of the manholes. So we had a very reasonable cost to do that. We're also coordinating on the paving of Harrison Street. There is work being done on the Curtis Air Hangar and the Chimbrow Hangar. With all the heavy truck traffic, we delayed this paving with the hauling of the materials coming in so that we will pave when all these projects are done before it gets too cold and try to make sure we don't have any seams and try to cover the whole area down there with everybody having their prorated bills. As funds are remaining in the highway budget, Donnie Shute and I, Public Works Director, are looking at that budget and ask Public Works to advise of any small areas in town that have deteriorated that we could get quotes on to see if we'd like to fix them. The price will not always be $70 a ton. That is, it seems high to me because I remember the days when it was $8.50 a ton, but that was a long time ago. But it is down from the $110 a ton. And the crew is very good to work with. The company is exceptional. These would be very small areas. I did go out and have paved a small area on Connors by Kleinsmith and Rennie's because it had deteriorated so quickly since the beginning of the year. And that cost was very minimum and people were very ecstatic about that, including the businesses. So if you can think of any small spots in town that should be paved, let me know and we'll add them to the list, get quotes and see what we can do. Thank you so much.
Catherine. Under old business, we have an item that's tabled. To my knowledge, we do not have any additional information on this. So that should be remaining on the table this evening. Under new business, ordinance 20-11.
Ordinance 20-11 set to public hearing on 9/21/2021. That the town council hereby ordains that chapter 2B general assistance ordinance and appendices A through H be rescinded and the new chapter 2B general assistance ordinance be adopted, and further that appendices A through H be adopted to reflect the revised maximums for the period of October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022.
I move we adopt ordinance 20-11.
Thank you, Mike.
I'll second it.
Was that you, Tim?
Yes.
That was me, Pete.
Oh, Pete.
Oh,
You
okay.
sound alike.
I see Tim talking, but it's not Tim's voice, so I was a little confused. Okay, Pete. Thank you. This is kind of a housekeeping item. These items are recommended. Do these come from the state, these guidelines, Catherine?
The guidelines came from the state and the Maine Municipal Association working together. It's a little bit different this time because the whole general assistance ordinance has been revamped from the beginning to the end. And so I'll become familiar with that because I'll be doing the general assistance applications now. And with the unemployment running out, it'll be interesting here for a while. The appendices usually come up every year, updated based upon the cost of basic necessities.
There is a very large packet here, counselors. Do you have any discussion about this item?
I have a question. For my own knowledge, where's the money come from? From the state?
The money comes from the town's budget with 50% reimbursed of the expenses up to a certain point. And then once you start spending a lot of money, you get reimbursed 90%. Generally, the town of Pittsfield has been fortunate and we don't hit that huge amount of general assistance to date, So we are reimbursed 50% usually.
How much do we actually budget for that then?
We've used the same budget, I believe. I'm not in my office, so I don't have that. I believe we budget 18,000 and then 9,000 is the reimbursement. I'd have to double check that.
Okay, so it's not a large.
No,
catastrophic
no, we've been very fortunate here. And when people come in, generally they come in, it's one time and then they don't come in for a year or two. We don't have, so far, don't have regulars like a lot of the surrounding towns do.
Thank you.
Any other questions, counselors? Okay, Catherine, can you call the roll on this, please?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Donahue,
Favor, aye.
Deputy Mayor Nichols,
Aye.
Councilor Collmore,
Aye.
Councilor Lodgett Dice,
Aye.
Councilor Frost,
Aye.
Councilor Trinket.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Passes.
Thank you. Next item is resolution, oh, I'm sorry. We were voting to set that to public hearing.
Yes.
Was that clear for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So that will come back to us on September 21st. We'll have a public hearing on that item. Resolution 21-92.
Resolution 21-92, resolved that the town council accept the bid of blank in the amount not to exceed blank per yard for winter sand for the 21-22 winter season.
Move we adopt resolution 21-92 as follows. Resolve that the town council accept the bid of Snowman's Construction Incorporated of St. Albans, Maine, in the amount not to exceed $14.50 per cubic yard for winter sand for the 2021-2022 winter season.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Discussion, counselors?
We really only had one return for this.
That is correct. And we did this twice. The first time, we did not receive any bids. The second time, we made out a list beyond the usual list of 6 and sent it out to over 20 companies. Then sent it out to some other people after that, and we got one bid. It's a specialty type item, but I would think you would probably get 2 or 3 bids.
That's very
What's-
disappointing.
What's the feedback from the acting highway department manager?
This bid is very good because it's a lot of money, but it is comparable to last year. The sand has been very good the last 2 years. The company's been very good to work with, so they were happy. And it is trucked, so they do not have to truck and go dig it like they used to.
Catherine, did we have, when we planned our budget, enough money for this build? I know that it's only gone up a little, but I don't remember that we increased the budget amount.
We should be fine because this year, in comparison to that year when we had no sand and they were digging in the ground there at the end, we have a considerable sand pile left. So we will not need the whole 3,500. So Donnie is working with the staff on exactly what we're going to order.
Okay, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Any other questions, counselors?
So the only thing this is the amount per yard, and we don't actually have the amount that we're gonna purchase yet.
It will be less than 3,500. I suspect considerably less. And maybe we'll try to reserve some during the winter if possible, in case we ran out. That's hard to do, but we'll see what the company says.
And that's yards, Catherine, that you're talking about. The 3,500 is yards, cubic yards.
Yes, cubic yard. It can be called cubic yards or yards.
Okay. Any other questions, counselors?
I think the only other thing that I'd like to add when you guys are considering doing the order for sand is that we order what we budgeted for. Simply because if this winter is worse than last winter, which they are saying is a possibility, we don't want to run out halfway through and then be using nasty crap stuff like we had to that year that we didn't order enough. So that's just my suggestion. I'll leave it up to the professionals in that, but if we have the budget for it, sand is not where we want to skimp.
No, this is true. There would be a capacity issue, but this is something that perhaps we can have it hauled in a couple of times, but we'll have to work with the company.
When will we know how much we are going to order?
I would say next week, Donnie will make a decision. They're still talking about it.
Follow up, Brent, maybe you could weigh in on this. Did we determine that there was a considerable amount of sand left there, like 12 to 1,500 yards already?
I believe so, and I thought Don said, correct
Yes.
me if I'm wrong, he said we used about 1,500 to 2,000 on a bad one at 2,000 yards. So we're buying enough to do plenty.
Mhm.
That's what it seems. According to the bid specs, it says we're gonna purchase 3,500 cubic yards there on that, on the original scope bid.
Yeah, and we can purchase less.
Is the pricing based on the full amount of 3,500, or will they be satisfied giving us that rate for less? Is that noted somewhere?
The company's been very good to work with. Obviously, if there's no room to haul in the sand, I think they've already been talking about this. There's a large sand pile there now.
Right, understood. However, if it's not in the contract, what's to say that they don't come back and say, well, you're not buying as much as we expected, we're gonna have to boost the price up. If it's not in the contract, there's nothing to stop them from doing that.
I think Donnie feels comfortable he can make arrangements with them. They've been very good to work with.
I understand that, Catherine. However, if it's not in contract, we're just going by somebody's verbal, and those days are long gone. We need to make sure that we're good with that, because I don't think we're gonna need as much sand as we needed before, and I don't want them to come back and say, it's gonna cost you more, where we've gone out for 20 businesses and only one comes back and they're the only ones, and then they probably know that they are the only game in town.
We'll have Donnie work with them and report back.
Any other questions, counselors? Okay, we'll move the vote. Resolution 21-92. Catherine, could you call the roll, please?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Donahue,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Nichols,
Aye.
Councilor Collmore,
Aye.
Councilor Dice,
Aye.
Councilor Frost,
I,
Councilor Chinkat.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Passes.
Thank you. Resolution 21-93.
Resolution 21-93. Resolved that the town council authorize a petition be available at town buildings regarding the condition of Main and North Main Street to request pavement be placed on the roadways prior to winter due to their condition and concern over public safety due to ice buildup during the upcoming winter season, and further that the town council execute the petition to the Maine Department of Transportation.
I move we adopt resolution 21-93.
Second.
Is that you, Tim?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, counselors? This is something that we had talked about at our last meeting, wanting to have a petition. The state has not been moving based on our town manager's requests, and we thought it would add a little more weight to it if we had a petition from residents and businesses, and the council signed on to that and executed that petition to the state.
So are we going to be collecting signatures like at the upcoming last concert series, the upcoming cheese festival, other than, I mean, only having it in the town office may not reach as many people as we could potentially reach. And I think the more signatures, the better when it comes to this.
We can have it available at other locations. Because it is a petition, I did want to say we did have permission to have it at the town buildings because that can be an issue that is contested sometimes. So we would, if you did want it at the town buildings, we'd want to have that in the motion. But certainly the petition can be taken to other locations. It would be set up so it's very clear what it is with a big heading. We didn't want to put too much information on it because we want people to be able to read it quickly and then move forward here. So we can package it all up by Friday and have it available.
I'm sorry, Catherine, I froze and then got booted and brought back in, so I missed part of that. I heard you say just now Friday, so that means it wouldn't be ready for the last concert on Thursday.
We can try, but with the lines of customers, that may not happen.
Okay.
But we can certainly try to have it ready for Thursday.
I know you guys are very busy, but that would be awesome if we could have it for that. And then I think that would just be helpful.
We'll definitely have it for the Cheese Festival, and we'll try very hard to have it available for the concert series. In fact, we can quickly whip up one, even if it's not set up as nicely as, you know, the final one is. It'll be the same thing, have the same language.
All right, thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome. I'm
Any
hoping,
other discussion?
Heather, I'm hoping this isn't going to slow down the whole process, but the road condition is horrendous, and I think this winter is going to be a big problem.
I come from that side of town into town on Route 100 there, where it's on that hill by Franklin Street between CN Brown Building and Franklin Street. And it's awful. The ice builds up terrible there, and there's big potholes. They try and patch it, but the first time they plow, it just pops right back out again. So yeah, it's a huge issue, and there's a lot of water runoff because of the way that the road has sunken and everything. And it's a huge safety issue.
And as the pavement continues to come off, it's going to be worse. And so if the project is going to be pushed back yet another year, hopefully not, it has to be paved without a doubt.
I think, this is Tim, I think that sending this will light a little bit of a fire. I know there's always a risk they might drag their feet more, but I think they're gonna drag their feet no matter what, if they're gonna drag their feet. And I think they need to know just exactly what kind of shape we got here. I think that's good information. I think if the signatures, you get the signatures of the petition sent in, I think it might light a fire under a couple people down there, I'm hoping.
We'll send in pictures too, because it's becoming very clear as to the condition. Should be easy to document in pictures.
That's a good idea, Catherine. Send the pictures in. That way there's no question of what kind of shape they can match it up. And I think something will happen if we do that. I really do.
Catherine, do you know what time frame we're looking at in order to get the petition signatures collected, get it submitted in order for them to be able to make a decision and actually do paving before it gets too cold to do that?
So this would be something that would need really good turnaround time. Paving should be done by October 15th in order to ensure that it's done properly. But I think whatever we get is going to be a skinny coat. We just need it to last a couple of years. So I would think if we were to have this done in a couple of weeks, which should work out pretty well once we put out the word. You'll have two large events, one really large event, and then the tax bills are going out, so people will rush into the office to pay. So we're going to have a period of time in which we'll have a lot of traffic going on. So we should be able to turn this around quickly.
Will we have multiple sheets so that we can take them around and like do a drive up at like Hannaford or whatever?
Yes, that we will have multiple sheets so they can go to multiple people can take them. It's not an official petition, so it's a petition of necessity. So it's one in which you want people to be involved, and so it doesn't have legal ramifications, so anyone can take it around.
Any other questions, counselors? Catherine, by voting this in the affirmative tonight, we do not have to then accept the petitions or anything. You would have the authority to turn the petitions in when the time frame ended, to turn them right into the state.
Yes, that would be fine. We'll have it ready so you all can sign one of them all together as we see you, because you'll be coming in the office for different items. We'll have a big expense warrant at the end of the week, and we'll see you at other meetings. So we'll have one that you sign, and then we'll have the others out. So no, you don't need to accept it. It's not an official petition under the charter or state law. It's simply a petition of severe interest in having something take place.
Okay. Any other questions, counselors, or we'll move the vote? Okay, Catherine, could you please call the roll for resolution 21-93?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Donahue,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Nichols,
Aye.
Councilor Collmore,
Really quickly, Catherine, Tim's camera wasn't on and I don't want there to be an error.
Yeah,
okay.
Where'd you go?
I know, it just quit on me. I don't know.
Down in the bottom left-hand corner, Tim, there's a little video camera. If it has a red line through it, it's off. If you click on it, it'll turn back on.
All right.
There's nothing in the corner.
That's
so far.
okay, Tim. Looks better like that anyway.
Yeah, that's my good side.
We do know it's Tim, and we can identify him by his voice, and he was on for part of the time, and this is not like a legal item. It's more of a necessity item, so I think we'll be okay. If we can't.
There,
Oh, they're back.
can you guys see me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just like George Burns. From the neck up, I'm perfect. From the neck down is where I need all the makeup.
All right, so you voted yay. Councilor Lodgedice.
Oh, Catherine, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, Councilor Collmore is an aye. Councilor Lodgedice,
Aye.
Councilor Frost,
Aye.
Councilor Chinkat.
I vote aye.
Thank you. It passes.
Thank you. Discussion items, there's none listed here. We discussed the fireworks thing earlier. So we'll go on to reports. And I am just going to go through my camera here. Oops. Amanda, why don't we start with you?
Good, because my camera phone hates the battery usage when I have this camera on.
First.
Yes. First, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming today, and hopefully on the next meeting, we will be in person again because I hate Zoom. But I also wanted to take a moment to say thank you to everybody and let you know how grateful I am for the opportunities I've had as a town councilor. I've enjoyed representing the people of Pittsfield as a councilor at large and as a state representative for District 106. And it's with a heavy heart that I've decided to resign as a town councilor effective on December 31st, 2021. I'm giving my official resignation notice today in hopes that somebody can be elected during the November general election so that we can avoid having a special election that can be very costly to the taxpayers, and I want to avoid that. I also want to avoid leaving the council short a member, and I don't want to leave the finance committee hanging during budget season we are in, and I'm the finance committee chair. I've thought really long and hard about this decision, and after participating in the first session of the 130th As a state representative, I've decided that it's best for the citizens of the town that I step down as counselor, because I feel I have not been able to give the attention that's needed to this responsibility when I'm also serving the citizens in Augusta, while also trying to work my full-time job and all of my family responsibilities. I want to thank everybody for everything that they've done, all of the amazing people who have reached out to me and supported me in this role. And I look forward to continuing to serve you through the rest of this year and as your state representative in Augusta. So thank you very much.
Okay, Amanda, thank you. Pete, let's go on to you.
I have nothing for this evening.
All right, Tim?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. And
Yeah, most people can. I don't have much. I was gonna say, good luck, Amanda. And, good luck in the state. I can understand where you're coming from. And it's good that you gave us plenty of notice so that people get out there. I'm not gonna be here next year as well. And I'm gonna miss some of this, but on the same time, after 24 years, my father always told me there's gonna come a time when you wanna go home and watch the Red Sox lose, and that's just about where I'm at, so. We are going to have a recycling committee meeting on the third Wednesday, Wednesday of this month. I don't have the calendar in front of me, obviously. I just wanted to update you very quickly. There is a gentleman that is interested in running the reuse center. We are gonna take a tour of it. He said he's going to come down with us. And I've spoken with Donnie on this, and we're gonna try to shoot for having that open at least one Saturday a month from now till the end of the year, weather permitting, so that people can get rid of some of their items. Christmas is coming. People pick up extra items. They clean out their stuff they don't want to. Otherwise, you're gonna get inundated in the spring with all kinds of stuff. So hopefully, if everything works out, but that is being worked on. And I think this gentleman seems to be very interested in it. So we'll see how that all turns out, and I'll keep you updated on that. And other than that, I have no report.
So Tim, the gentleman did come in today, and it turns out he's cleaned out the whole place. So now he says it's 3/4 empty of all of the junk and accumulated books, and has been working right away there, and is all excited to open up the facility and meet with the committee next week.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Tim. Sorry I skipped over you when we were
That's
doing reports earlier. I totally missed that.
That's okay. That's okay.
When did you say the meeting's the end of the month?
It's the third Wednesday. We're gonna start, I think, a little bit earlier than 5:30, so that we could go look at the facility before it gets dark. So that will be advertised for anyone that wants to go over.
And that's the
Great.
15th, just so you guys
Yeah.
know.
9:15.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Mike, you're on deck here. Or I guess
All
you're.
right. Okay, I'm done swinging the bat, time to step up. The one thing I want to bring up, probably a discussion item, but I'm very concerned about the status of the police negotiations that are happening here. I had requested back the first week of August for some information from the town manager for copies of letters of correspondence that were said to have been sent to the police union. My response was the town attorney suggested that it doesn't happen. However, if I got approval from the mayor or the council, then those would be made available. I had requested from the mayor, was denied. So I'd like to poll the council, asking for permission to get copies of the correspondences that were said to have been sent from the town manager to the police union. So if we need to make a motion, or we can just go around poll everybody, I guess to add a little bit more flavor to this, I'm just concerned that as a counselor of several different terms, I'm not being afforded the, you know, the possibility or the potential to be made aware of the information, you know, that is or isn't going around. This has been going on since April, and the last correspondence in the meeting minutes tonight, it says after several meetings, with the latest being on August 5th, the requested items were sent to the town attorney for the distribution of the union next day. So according to the town manager's own notes, nothing has been done on this for a month. And the seriousness of being short police personnel in this town, I can't overemphasize that enough. I'd like to poll the council asking for permission to get a copy of the correspondences that the town manager said she has had with the town union, the police union rather.
So I think the mayor would like to speak to this. The town attorney has been clear that attorney-client correspondence isn't given out to everyone. There have been 6 meetings that have taken place. I think there may have been more. And I think we're on our 5th proposal. That's simply the agenda sheet that was in the last meeting when the item was tabled. I think Heather will and Tim will indicate that the information has been going to the town attorney and then to the union. And I think that we're on our 5th proposal, counter proposal.
Well, actually, Catherine, if I may interrupt you, let me read from your correspondence to me Friday, August 20th. I have been advised to not release materials to individual counselors and that the release of information should be authorized by the mayor or the entire council.
This is not something that's usually done because it is the different correspondence on the different proposals.
Right, Catherine, but I'm quoting your correspondence to me. So is that true or is that not true? Can I not ask for a council or can I?
You can ask for it, but it's not something that's usually done.
So
And I told
Regardless.
you, we've got a lot of correspondence here. This isn't one item that you asked for at the meeting. I had no issue with the one item, but we've got a lot of paperwork here on all the different proposals in the background and everything, and all the union negotiations I've been involved with, this information is not given out to, everybody.
So I just to kind of set the record straight on a couple things, Mike, the information in the packet is from when the item was tabled prior. The committee has met at least 2, maybe 3 more times since then. I would have to go back and check my calendar as far as when we met. Our last meeting was actually on Sunday. We received information from the union on Friday, and we have 3 people's schedules that we need to coordinate. We actually met on a Sunday afternoon, came up with a counter proposal, sent it over to the attorney. Monday was a holiday. And so that was processed today as the first work day after a holiday. So this is an item that is still in active negotiations. And as I said in my email to you as a reply, when you first requested to have all these documents released, I don't believe it's appropriate to be releasing confidential labor negotiation documents in the middle of the labor negotiations process. It's inaccurate to say that this has been going on since April. There are items that have been negotiated, and they were first mentioned at meetings in April. I believe it was the finance committee meeting. There have been negotiations and agreed upon items, mainly the $15,000 signing bonus item that was successfully negotiated with the union, and that is currently in place and available to the police department to use as leverage for hiring new employees. We're currently working on other items, some that have been proposed by the town, some that have been proposed by the chief, some that have been proposed and looked at by the union. So we're trying to work through this process together, but in general, it's not appropriate to have negotiating materials released to the general public. And as not a sitting member on the labor negotiations committee, I would consider you a member of the general public in this sense. And that's why I said that it was not appropriate to release those documents to you when you requested them a couple weeks ago.
Okay, and I will say once again that per correspondence via the town manager through the attorney, the release of information should be authorized by the mayor or the entire council. So can I not petition the council to release the information I'm requested?
It sounds like you can release, you can petition for the release of the information. I would ask Catherine, though, that if this is the appropriate way to actually make that petition to the council, or whether it needs to be an actual action item because it has legal ramifications to the town, as well as it may compromise our bargaining position. I'm sure.
So is this not from the attorney or not? I would imagine that the attorney would have already taken that into consideration if that was given as an option.
So my
No,
was,
go
if
ahead.
you are going to do this, what the proper channel is to do. Does it happen this evening as a general consensus item? Or does it actually need to be placed on the agenda as a discussion item? That's my question as to if you want to pursue having this, how do we actually do that? I'm not sure that as a legal item that we should just sit around and say, hey, yeah, let's do this tonight without having it thought out and also delineated exactly what the information is that you're looking for. Catherine, can you weigh in on this, please?
I would think that the best way to handle this would be an action item, but again, I would indicate that we're in the middle of negotiations and this sets a very bad precedent. No matter how much people try not to have information get out to the public or get into the recycle bin, things are found at the recycling facility and have to be disposed of by Donnie, and he can tell you about that. So we just simply do not give out this type of material. It is a bad precedent, and I think it causes a lot of confusion here.
I hear you and understand that, and I won't pressure it anymore. However, I want to make the point, regardless of how much you want to refute it, that is an option as a counselor has, whether it's good precedent or bad precedent, whether we do it or don't do it. That is an option that I wish that I have, that I can exercise. And I am still considering doing so. And I understand that very particular details are required to do so. So it is my prerogative to do so, but I just want to make it well known here. I am going on actions that was from the town manager by way of the attorney. This isn't a discussion item that we got to discuss whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, up or down, black or white. It's already been determined as an option by the town attorney. So I think that discussion is out the door. It's how we do it. And that part, I will agree with you, Heather. So just one more thing, if I may, and I'll wrap it up and yield the floor. Now, with these negotiations, I assume that you're using all the resources possible. Are you talking with the officers on board? Are you having the chief weigh in on this? I mean, is he part of these discussions or meetings at all?
So we have said before that the town actually negotiates with the union, not directly with the officers. They have a designated representative to negotiate with, and that is who we negotiate with. And we met with the attorney as well as a representative of the union, and one of the officers was at one of our meetings. So the short answer is yes to all of the above. All of the people that you mentioned have been involved in the appropriate way and at the appropriate time. Have they been at every meeting we have had? no, because the committee has met alone in order to discuss strategy and options, and it would not be appropriate to have all of the other parties involved at those meetings.
Okay. Yeah, well, that wasn't my exact question, but I guess it's not going to really matter now.
Do you want to
So-
repeat your question? Did I
No,
misunderstand?
no, I think maybe you did. I didn't ask who you were negotiating with. I didn't ask you if you were in negotiation with the police officers on board here or with the chief. I was asking if you were using them as resources, if you were getting their input, or if you were talking with them regularly, if you were trying to use them as information. I mean, I would imagine that the officers or the chief at least would be involved, probably not at the negotiating table because that may be a conflict of interest. You know, at least get an idea from the chief, feedback as to, you know, some information. You know, you've asked his feedback before. What would be a good sign-in bonus? How would we incentivize officers to want to come to Pittsfield? I would assume that he's been part of the regular process all along.
So the chief has
Oh.
met with us and has had input on some of the negotiation items. And then other items were considered without his input. So yes and no on that.
Can I say something very quickly?
Go ahead.
This is all I'm gonna say on this. Mike, I can rest assured that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that this is settled so that the town can live with it, the police department can live with it, and we will involve everybody that we legally can, and we want to get this resolved. We've had numerous meetings, and believe you me, we want to put this behind us and move forward and make it good for everybody involved. Now, everybody probably will never give 100% of what they want, but we're doing our due diligence, and we want to finish this up. If you got any concerns about any of that, you can rest assured, we want to move forward and get this thing done, okay?
I understand that, Tim, and I appreciate your feedback on that. I'm just, and I know I'm a broken record, and God forbid anything happens, but you've got 2 or 3 officers that are putting in the work of 7. And by saying it has been since April, I don't really mean that it's the negotiations been since April. What I meant was that the officers left in April. So this police force has been shorthanded since April. And here it is, 5 months later, 6 months later. So yeah, it's gone on a significant amount of time, and you're putting a lot of wear and tear on the officers who are left to take care of this. And they're at a very serious position, a very dangerous position, a very important position in this town. And I just want to make sure we're doing absolutely everything possible, humanly possible, thinking outside the box, trying to do everything we can to get these gentlemen what they need to do, and get the taxpayers and get the town, citizens and the businesses in this town the coverage that they deserve and that they're paying for. But we're not doing that.
Rest assured, Mike, I hear you. And we want to get this as soon as we possibly can. We're doing everything we can do on our end, and we're going to keep pushing forward. That's, you can count on that.
I hear you, Tim. Thank you for sharing that. I'll yield the floor. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Brent, I think you're the last one standing here as far as anybody, if I haven't missed. It's hard to tell with everybody on the little squares here.
Okay, I have a couple things. One, I have a resident who's complained a couple times on an ordinance of another neighbor has a tin storage shed that he's kind of repairing 4-wheelers or bicycles or whatever in there, all hours of the night. He did reach out to Bob, and he sent me a page, 5 pages of pictures and everything else. I will touch base with Bob and go up and see what we can do. It may take some moving of the tin shed because it's closer than 20 feet from the 2 property owners. So I'll get with Bob on that, though. I just want to share that with you.
Brent, is it
the
a noise issue?
What's that?
Is it more of a noise issue if he's using like impact guns or something on working on equipment and stuff? Is that the issue, or just the placement of the building?
It's both, because there's litter and trash all around the building, and the building is close to property line. And two, they actually had to call the police department here at 2 o'clock in the morning one morning, because they're out there beating and banging and grinding, and it's right beside the guy's house.
Okay,
the
yeah, it
purpose.
sounds like there's a couple ordinances there that could be used to kind of remediate that situation.
I'll get with Bob on the code
So that
enforcement.
issue was referred to our new code enforcement officer, and we did go over the different ordinances with him. He and Steve Seekins went out to the site, and they're deliberating on how they're going to address the situation, but there's appears to be numerous violations.
Right. Okay, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
Yep, the other thing I had was, ever since I've read that, the state fireworks ordinance and hours, there's only very few days that you can actually do fireworks. And I'm sure we're all familiar, you always hear fireworks numerous times all over. I got one neighbor that probably lights it off every 2 weeks down here. So boy, it's gonna be a interesting battle here with the enforcing the rule, or is it going to end up being like enforcing jaywalking? I just got to chuckle at that ordinance, but we'll see what happens. On another serious note, I noticed you said you mentioned about a tank had a chemical spill. I was curious about the town, if they actually have a lot of their tanks, and especially air receiver tanks, if they have them ultrasonic tested for thickness. Because in my previous employment, we used to do that a minimum every 5 years, because a air receiver tank can become very dangerous and explode and injure people if it gets thin and you're applying that pressure.
No, that's a good point. We plan to go around to the water and the other facilities and make sure that all the tanks are in good working order after what took place. There was a corroded area in the leakage. So
Right.
we do plan to go around, and the forms that were filled out on the building inspections does have a category there too. Nothing got picked up on the forms, but that doesn't mean something's not there. So the safety coordinator needs to go around. It's a very good point.
I'll catch up with Donnie sometime and chat with him.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Yeah, the last thing I have is that Hopkins paving. They did do Franklin Street here, and they're very excellent pavers. Very detailed, excellent. Every little thing was done perfect, I thought.
No, I'll let them know. They were great to work with.
Right, they're very good. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Brent. Thank you, everybody. And like Amanda, I hope we can all meet in person at our next meeting. Until we're out of the red zone for classifications, though, our meetings will be by Zoom, and that'll be our committee meetings as well as our council meetings. I'll remind everybody that the library is available. Just call Holly and let her know, and she'll set a computer up and you can get into the building before 6 p.m. to be able to utilize those facilities that the town has the high-speed internet, probably better signals than any of us have, as well as comfy chairs. The Cheese Festival is coming up this Sunday. We're excited. On Friday, you'll see tents starting, kinds of activity down there. Our morning, only a few left, but we still have tickets available in the afternoon session. I'll remind anybody that would like to volunteer that if you volunteer in the afternoon, you actually get your free ticket to use in the morning. So it's not like you're missing out on your free ticket if you volunteer in the afternoon session. We do need afternoon session volunteers still. The paving projects look great. I'm really excited that that big bump at the bottom of Connor Street by Kleinschmidt at the corner is gone. That I hit it every time, even though I know it's there, I kept hitting it. I noticed too that the town crews are out doing more of the brush trimming along the edges of the roads, down on the Crawford Road earlier this week. And so that looks nice to kind of push all that back, especially before winter comes when we have snowbanks to deal with. Catherine, are we going to have department head reports coming at our next council meeting? Or are they working on their budget items?
They're working on their budget items. I've got to do a lot of additional postings, so likely the finances won't be reconciled because now I'm doing it all, every single item. So we may be delayed on some items, but you'll definitely have department head discussion items. If not at the next meeting, they'll be at the following one.
Well, maybe when we have our departments come in for their budget reviews, we can have them give us a little blurb about what they've been doing the last month or two, kind of fill us in on that if they want to do like a verbal one for us at our budget committee meetings. Let's see, lots of things happening in town. The garden club continues to spruce things up. Every time I come into the town office, I think there's new flowers in the box out here. It looks great. I know, I saw, because I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what it looked like last time I was here. So they're right on top of things. I want to say good luck to Amanda and thank you. You've certainly been fulfilling a lot of roles all at once, very admirably. You're the master juggler. So thank you for your service here in the council. We look forward to seeing you, providing us updates with what's going on in the state, and keep an eye on things at the state level for us. And we appreciate the time that you have given us. And also, I really appreciate the fact that you were kind of thinking ahead about this and considering it and the impact that it would have on the council and the town. I greatly appreciate that you'll serve as finance committee chair through the end of the year to help with the budgeting process, for sure. Very greatly appreciated. And with that, I will close the meeting if we have a motion.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
I say we adjourn.
All right, I don't think we need to do a roll on that, but we'll do it anyway. How about this, is anybody opposed to adjourning? I'm not hearing any. So, all right.
I just want to say one thing, Amanda, thank you very much for serving. We're going to really miss you. And I wish we had spent more time together. And Catherine, when you send out the things for the meetings, could you include me on the email? Because I got nothing on these meetings for this minute tonight.
All right, I did include you and I sent out 3, if not 4 emails because of the town manager report. So did you get any of them?
I got nothing. I've checked my spam folder too. I got nothing at all.
Okay, did everybody else get your emails? I felt like I was harassing people. I sent out so many of them. So did everybody else get like 3 or 4 emails?
Yes.
Yeah, I got mine.
You got yours? I mean,
My account has been shut down due to, I don't know, a bunch of people got hacked for Microsoft Outlook, and I'm trying to get it put back up because I'm on another committee and I need it. So I don't know if I got mine or not, Catherine. I probably did, but I have no way to check. So I'm working on that issue.
yeah, Amanda and Heather, did you get yours?
I know that I got at least the minutes one, Catherine, but I have not checked it to see if I got the other ones. You know, I got the packet through email, but I have not checked for
Okay,
the other.
thank you. And Heather, you got yours?
I got my Zoom invitation and I didn't open my packet one because I had a physical copy from our meeting on Monday, so I didn't bother opening that. So I'm assuming it was in there too, but I definitely had my Zoom invite to the meeting.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you.
Okay.
Perhaps there's a typo in Mike's email.
No, I think he got the ones to the meeting before. You got the meeting. Mike, you got the items to the meeting before?
Nope, I did not.
I'll double check it.
Okay, they're not coming
double check it.
back.
So have you not received any of the email notifications of the meetings or the agendas or anything like that, Mike?
That is correct.
Catherine,
Mhm.
when you send that out, can you just shoot him out an email and let him know that you sent it out? And if you get the email, Mike, just reply to it and just let him know you got it, because otherwise it's some kind of a snafu somewhere.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
we want you to have your meeting minutes. I mean, you know, it's
Uh,
obviously some stupid snafu that.
Sent a lot of emails, so we'll check on that.
Okay,
mchincat@gmail.com.
Mhm.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend and come down and see some cheesemakers on Sunday.
Will do.
All right, thank you.